Good evening. If we can get everyone's attention, please, and grab a seat, and we're going to start right away. Good evening and welcome. I'm Steve Mabey. I'm Vice President Operations Airports, and I'll be the MC for tonight. Thank you for joining us today for this year's Edmonton Airport's annual public meeting. We are very thankful to be back live and in person. Great to have everyone out tonight and be able to share this time with you. We're also very excited to be in this extraordinary building, Pendennis Building in downtown Edmonton. I also want to welcome everyone who's joining via the live stream today, and thank you for taking time to be with us virtually. I'd also like to make a note that this is also being streamed in French audio, so please click on the link at flyea.com to have the French stream. I'd like to acknowledge a few people in the room before we get started. Grand Chief of Confederacy Treaty 6, Leonard's standing on the road. I'm not sure where you are right now, but he's here. And also our elected officials that are here on site as well. Thank you for being here. Health, safety, and security are always at the foremost of everything Edmonton Airports does. So just to remind everyone where the exits are, in case of an emergency, there are 2 exits on either side. This exit here, you would leave on this side and go out the stairs on the far side over here. And on this side, you go down, and then just around the corner is a door to the basement. Washrooms, if you haven't found them, are also located in the very lower level of the building. Thank you to LEDR Development Limited for hosting us in this beautiful historic building. This Edwardian-era structure was built in early 1910s. At the time, it was known as the Pendennis Hotel, and it quickly rose to become a prominent fixture in the cultural, social, and commercial development of downtown Edmonton. Within the sturdy brick walls of the remodeled century-old structure lived stories of the city's Wild West past, from the colorful people who owned and visited the building to the many barriers the property encountered and overcame throughout the years. Please stay around after the formal part of the meeting to look around and learn more about the building's incredible history. Our theme of this year's annual report is New Beginnings. The spring fresh flower, green grass, and sprouting leaves embody renewal and a return to growth. I would like to formally begin our meeting with a land acknowledgement. Edmonton Airports is proud to acknowledge and celebrate the ancestral and traditional territory of Treaty 6 and Métis homeland. Treaty 6 is the gathering place and traveling route of the Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, Dene, and Nakota Sioux. We thoughtfully acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit whose footsteps have marked these lands for centuries and whose voices are so important in paving a path forward together in reconciliation. To do this in a way that aligns to our values, supports the National Center for Truth and Reconciliation's calls for actions, and strengthen our community, Edmonton Airports has committed to being an active partner and contributor in economic reconciliation. This means that we commit to listening and learning for our Indigenous community, creating meaningful partnerships and opportunities based on shared values and objectives, and working together toward meaningful economic prosperity that will ensure the success of future generations. Now, we will have a traditional blessing. Elder White was to be here, but unfortunately had a family emergency that had to attend to, couldn't be here. But we have Knowledge Keeper Spicer, who has graciously accepted to do this today for us. Knowledge Keeper Spicer is part of the Métis Nation of Alberta. Our Elders and Knowledge Keepers Circle was integral in guiding the design of an Indigenous and Interpretive Center and Retail Center in the airport. We look forward to continuing our journey with them. Thank you, Knowledge Keeper Spicer, for being here and sharing your wisdom and traditional knowledge with us. Do we have the mic? There's the mic right here.
population. We are so proud to be part of this history that is being made right now. And we hear that the airport is continuing with this knowledge, and they've invited us again to continue working with them to expand on the beautiful kiosks that they have there now, and that we will be having a much larger area where we can represent our people. And we thank you very much, Creator, for this. Please bless our meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Knowledge Keeper Spicer. Appreciate you doing that today. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Joan Hertz, our Chair of Edmonton Airport's Board of Directors, and Edmonton Airport's President and CEO, Myron Keane. Welcome, Joan and Myron. I'll hand over the meeting to you.
Great, thank you, and it works. So I think this is a brilliant idea. We should always have you guys have a few drinks and then come up and listen to us talk for an hour and a half. Right? It's not an hour and a half. Everyone's going, did she say an hour and a half? It's not an hour and a half. It'll be an hour and 28 minutes.
2 hours.
God, no. Anyway, thank you so much, Steve. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate that you could be here with us today. And thank you, Myron, and the entire team at the airport for all of your work the past year. I know I'm looking at all of you. I know it was a lot of long hours to get us where we are tonight, and thank you for all of your work. And I also want to thank our former president and CEO, Tom Ruth, who retired at the end of this year. And so, again, we're just catching the ball. And Tom was our great leader that stewarded us through the pandemic and set the team up for even greater things to come. And now I'd like to recognize our amazing board of directors: Angelina Bakshi, Rob Bennett, Chris Burrows, Catherine Chubbs, Howard Eng, Angela Fong, Mona Hale, Tim Hofstra, Greg Krishke, Sandra Morocco, Carmen McNary, and Dave Mowat. And this is an esteemed team that I am just so grateful to get to work with, highly qualified, very diverse set of perspectives on our board, and we have made great strides together, adopting new technologies to respond to the pandemic and to create this modern international airport and busy, very busy aviation airport. And now we've begun work on the next strategic plan to prepare us for future opportunities. So thank you so much to our board for all their work. We're also proud at the airport of our ESG, which is environmental, social, and governance. We were doing ESG long before it was cool. And our diversity, equity, and inclusion and our ESG are woven into every decision that we make. Excellent. And that has nothing to do with the airport, right, Myron?
No.
Right, Myron?
I'm checking right now.
Sadly, that's probably fires, is it? Did somebody look? Is it fires? Oh, we need to pray for rain. So ESG, we are embracing it in everything that we do. You can see our board statement up there. All our actions will drive our mission to responsibly generate economic prosperity for our region through authentic environmental, social, and governance leadership. And we embrace it, and it is infused in everything that we do. But let's get on to last year. What happened last year, Myron? So I'm very curious because I am a hockey fan. I don't know if anybody else here knows that there's this hockey thing going on. So if it was the Molson Cup 3 stars of stuff that happened last year, what are the top 3 highlights that happened in 2022?
Yeah, great question. And go Oilers, by the way. We'll say that lots tonight. I think that the first thing is the rebound in the aviation industry. And thank you to the regions, the communities in our region that banded together to drive the Regional Air Service Opportunity Fund. We have 55 destinations last year, which is 3 more than prior in 2019, before COVID pandemic. And that rebound is strong. It's really driven that. But not just that, the cargo side, which is really important for our small and medium enterprises here in Edmonton to access global markets.
And what about passengers?
Passengers were great last year. 5.85 million passengers, 109% growth. We're still below our 8.2 million total, but it really rebounded quickly, and that rebound is in part, a large part, to our communities coming together to support air service.
And cargo, still expanding?
Cargo is great last year as well. Global cargo volumes were down 6% last year, and Edmonton was up 7.2%. That's 3 years of growth in cargo when everywhere else in the world was declining.
Yeah, and I think the other big thing in our cargo news is the $100 million from the federal government for our international cargo hub. That was huge, right?
Absolutely, a very large piece for us, and our region is really poised to even springboard further when global supply chains are being reset. If you look at their geographic location, the circumpolar routes flying over top of the North Pole to Edmonton, the Prince Rupert Port, the rail lines that come to the region, and then trucking, that $100 million is part of a kickoff of the first phase of $300 million development, in addition to the 65th Avenue interchange, which is a total development in that area of about $5 billion over time.
That's excellent. And, we also have done an awful lot in sustainability. I was bragging about ESG, and it's true. And I think the work that we've done with hydrogen and signing the 11 agreements on hydrogen last year, what does that mean, signing 11 agreements regarding hydrogen? What's that going to mean for the region?
Sure. So I have a really bad joke. Sorry, my children told me not to use it. I'm going to do it anyway. Hydrogen really is a key element for us to decarbonize. I know.
Funny.
I should have listened to my 17-year-old who said, Dad, that doesn't work.
Don't do it.
No, don't do it. But he's going to watch this and laugh at me. Or be embarrassed for his friends, I think. But no, I think the hydrogen agreements last year that we signed, this region is poised to lead globally in hydrogen. And you're seeing what's happening with over 60% of the hydrogen in the world, in Canada, being produced in the Edmonton metro region. And the billions of dollars of investment. And this race to decarbonize, the ability to drive and transform the energy transformation is happening here. And so we're really blessed as the airport to be part of that with the Edmonton Metropolitan Region Hydrogen Hub area. It's just amazing what's happening in the Canadian Hydrogen Convention last week, which was, again, stellar event.
Yeah, shout out to Edmonton Global. Malcolm Bruce is here, and 8,000 people at the Canadian Hydrogen Convention last week, and they weren't just here looking around. They weren't just looking around. There is business being done, agreements being signed, and investments being made in our region. And but what does it mean for flights? What will hydrogen mean for zero-emission flights?
Yeah, that's a great question. We were blessed at the last week to have Zero Avia here. They are creating electric propulsion from fuel cells. And just on Monday, we had two of our team down in Seattle, where Alaska Airlines announced a Q400 that could fly from Seattle to Edmonton on hydrogen and back. And it's 5 years almost ahead of schedule. So we think hydrogen flights 2030, 2040. It's actually not. It's 2025, 2026 in large medium-scale aircraft. So it is a game changer for aviation.
Yeah, and on the road to net zero for 2040, we had a pretty cool flight last year. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, we're really proud that during COVID, the SkyTeam Airlines, there's 19 airlines in that alliance, came together and asked all of their teams, what's the number one thing facing aviation? Everyone says sustainability across the globe. So KLM led, for the SkyTeam Alliance, something called the Sustainable Flight Challenge. And every airline could pick one international route and one short-haul route. And we were very blessed that KLM chose Edmonton because of a lot of sustainability work that's happening here. And that flight that flew from Amsterdam to Edmonton was the most sustainable flight ever flown in the history of aviation. 39% of the aviation fuel was sustainable aviation fuel. Normally it's 2% if people are even using it. But there were over 50 initiatives that were led by the team at Edmonton Airports and at KLM, and everything from plastic replacement to picking your food based on the carbon footprint. So it's just an amazing, and what we've seen already is a bunch, over a dozen of the items that were trialed on the flight to Edmonton have been embedded into KLM operations. So it's the ability to just challenge and sustain those sorts of things and then brag about it. And I think Peter Elbers, the former CEO of KLM, said it best, is that we need to this isn't a competitive thing, we all need to work together. So they're taking all their learnings and sharing with all their competitors to help the industry as a whole.
And yet, it was pretty cool that they chose Edmonton, right? KLM could have chosen any airport, but they chose Edmonton, once again, punching above your weight. So I'm a passenger flying out of YEG. What can I do as an individual for reducing my impact?
Yeah, that's a great question. I see our great friends from Wild and Pine here, sustainability, Chris and Kate. But Wild and Pine Sustainability was a company that we worked with, and they are really revolutionizing how to deal with carbon offsets in trees. And they're B-certified corporations. So we signed a partnership agreement, and they're using something called the Stonewoods Forest Carbon Project, which consists of a bunch of aggregated sites in the local Edmonton metropolitan region to plant trees. And why is it important? Every tree you plant through its life cycle is a ton of carbon. So think one tree, 1 ton. And so we've done a partnership together, and they're growing and using amazing technology from University of Alberta, Nate, and other places to change how reforestation is done and growing it inside buildings. So being able to change how trees are grown, the speed with which they grow, and the longevity of that tree. So if you park at Value Park at the airport, you can purchase a tree and we'll match your tree. So you'll get 2 trees for every car parked to offset carbon.
Very cool. So park at one of our lots. We'll plant a tree to match yours.
Absolutely, and please,
cool.
there's more information online. There's that beautiful park a car, plant a tree on the screen. And it's just, again, another way to do that. There's more exciting things coming with our friends at Wild and Pine.
And then there's a tiny little solar farm getting built.
Yeah, very small.
So, Alpen Sun, there's an absolutely massive solar park getting built at Yeg, if you haven't heard about this. It is just the sheer scale of this is kind of mind-boggling. Talk about that, Myron.
Sure, so being able to drive alternate energy and provide energy security and safety for the airport is really important, as Steve talked about safety and security. So we partnered with Alpen Sun out of Germany and Europe to build the world's largest on-airport solar farm. It's 595 acres. About 340,000 solar panels give a solar panel to. Someone can go count if they want, but it might be there for a while. And it's going through the final permitting stages. But what does it mean? It's 27,000 homes that can come off the grid. It's hundreds of thousands of tons of carbon. And really just the ability to utilize that, to be able to offset what's happening in the aviation industry. And you'll see some more announcements that are happening this year because of that investment by that company.
Yeah, we should all be pretty excited by that. It's all about reducing carbon dioxide, led by the airport, so well done. And so now I think it's time for the dance off. No.
What? I didn't know about that.
Not time for the dance
I'm sorry to disappoint, I gotta tell you.
No, now we're going to hear, we have a video. We're going to hear from Leduc County Mayor Tani DeBlanco, not in a dance-off, about an exciting project made possible by some talented people and leaders with a shared vision for growing opportunities for Yeg and beyond. So, Mayor DeBlanco's video.
One of the things that I think works really well in our work with YAG is we both have an eye on investment. And so we both work hard to be investment ready. And when we have to sit down and plan businesses or infrastructure, we do it in a way so that we both are win-win and the region is a win as well. Leduc County made a decision in our 2022 budget to build a brand new fire hall on airport land. And we believe that this investment in a fire hall will not only attract more investment to airport land at YAG, but also will attract more investment in the region around Nisku. Leduc County has so much talent available to it. And it's the talent we see at the airport as well. And it provides not only direct employment for many, many of our residents, but it also provides those spin-offs. So if you're in logistics and trucking, the more cargo that comes in through YAG means the more opportunity for entrepreneurs in Leduc County and the region to be able to build their business and grow their own economy.
That's great. Thank you so much, Mayor DeBlanco. For believing in the strength of our people as we're all seeking bold opportunities for future growth. And speaking of municipal collaboration, we were very fortunate to have support from a variety of our regional municipalities to help us at the airport restore and grow our air service offerings in 2022, which was a unique thing that our region did. And while this was important for business and leisure travelers, it's also very important to our diverse communities who were able then to connect back with loved ones who had lost that connection and those travel visits that were disrupted during the pandemic. So with many family members living across the globe, Edmonton's Mayor Amarjeet Sohi shares his perspectives now on the importance of those human connections.
I think the importance of air service, efficient, effective air service is important in every aspect of how we grow our economy, how we attract talent to our city, how we attract more tourism to our city. But personally, for me, having good connections to different parts of the country and the world are important from a social aspect. We live in a connected globe and we have connections all over the world. So I think in order to keep those connections, air service is absolutely essential. When you land at the airport here in Edmonton, you feel their connections to community. And Edmontonians welcome people to this land. So it's really a sense of place when you're there, and that kind of welcome is absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you so much, Mayor Sohi, and again, to all of our regional leaders for coming together with us in 2022 with that commitment to growth with us. So now, honestly, what I think we've all been waiting for is, not the dance-off, is the air service, the added non-stop flights from YEG, and what's coming. Over to you, Myron. You gonna read them all?
Yeah, I'm not going to read them all. It's a great problem when someone asked the question earlier to me, when is one flight launching? I'm like, I can't tell you, there's too many. That's an awesome problem. There's never too many, I should take that back. We want more. But no, really appreciate it. It's been a great year. This year was really a watershed year, really a new beginning in that, along that theme. And I mentioned by the end of 2022, we had 55 nonstop destinations compared to 52 in 2019. And really, that's a really tremendous signal of the confidence in this region by the airlines and by the traveling public. And so Port Airlines started service to Toronto, February. This month, Condor will start service to Germany, connecting Edmonton to Frankfurt. So please fly to Frankfurt and have some, pretzels and bratwurst, and then fly back. And maybe some beer there as well. And Condor and Porter are both new, but the Frankfurt hub I want to talk about for a second is really important. It's one of the most connected hubs in the world. 300 connections beyond Frankfurt, 300 cities. Edmonton Metro Region is now connected to that network. So in addition to that, KLM, nonstop service to Amsterdam, they've increased service flying directly, and you saw that on one of the videos today. And we're also welcome Lynx Air into our family, which is really important to add another low-cost carrier. We're flying nonstops to 9 different countries on 3 different continents on 15 different airlines. If you think about that, back when COVID was happening, you couldn't fly anywhere other than domestic, and you could literally bowl down the airport and you wouldn't hit anybody with a bowling ball, and you could pick it up and bowl again and it wouldn't hit anybody. It was quite a change. So we really have come back in a large way. Again, thank you to the community for that support. And then there's so many, so I'll just keep going, but domestically, WestJet had their largest expansion ever in the history of aviation in Edmonton here. You saw that announcement a couple months ago, and that's foundational and pivotal because they're building a base here. And by building a base, you base pilots here, which allows incremental growth. Air Canada adding in the daily nonstop flight to San Francisco back, and partnering with United, double daily into Denver, vitally important to connect into other hubs. So, and additionally to that, obviously Flair, our hometown airline, flying all over, and we have new nonstop service happening this year to Kamloops, to Quebec City. We've never been connected to Quebec City before. So again, the connectivity within Canada is phenomenal, and additional routes. And we'll mention one other thing. Air Canada also launched the first in over 10 years Air Canada vacations flights from here to Cancun. And that's really important for Canadians. During the winter, right now, it feels warmer than Cancun outside, but to be able to go down to places that are warmer.
And there is a spot on our website, by the way, if you're wondering where we fly direct. There is a place where you can go, and it's listed. But I'm often asked by people, I'm going to pause here, I'm off script now, and they ask, like, what can I do to get more direct flights here in Edmonton? And it's actually pretty simple. Fly on these direct flights. We love Calgary, Vancouver, Toronto. We love other airports dearly. However, in order to support your airport, fly direct to these locations from Edmonton. Change your day of travel, encourage people that you work with to take direct flights, because the airlines watch that. That's my commercial.
Yeah, can I just add something to that
Yeah.
as well? Just to add to the commercial, we have WestJet launching Minneapolis service, which is really important for us to connect. And it's WestJet's first service to Minneapolis, and it's from Edmonton. It's not from Calgary, where their global hub is. So that service launches at 6 days a week. They're launching service into London, Ontario, into various places, Moncton, Charlottetown. Flights were resumed to Ottawa yesterday with WestJet, Montreal, Nanaimo, Penticton. So there's a lot of choice. So really fly out of Edmonton first.
Yeah. Quickly on passengers, you mentioned that we're up. How much?
Yeah, so last year we were up 109%, so to 5.85 million passengers. That's the largest growth we've ever seen in 1 year. And really, we went from 2.79 million passengers the year before. And this is really important. We're seeing aviation on a steep trajectory, going forward. And really this year we see for 2023 to be somewhere in the 90+% range of our pre-pandemic levels.
That's great. And I think more passenger service helps us because it also helps cargo. Like 60% of our cargo volumes are actually moved in the belly of of our commercial passenger aircraft. And we now have e-commerce deliveries, moving specialized equipment and supplies for the energy sector, agri-food, manufactured goods, and so much more making up our cargo shipments. And it was a banner year as well, 2022, for moving health-related goods like pharmaceuticals. So now we're going to hear from Heather Stewart, who's the president of BBE Expediting, about the growth and optimism that she's seeing within our cargo village over 2022.
In 2022, some of the highlights for us have been growth, energy, connectivity with our people, and finding ways to connect with stakeholders, colleagues, and clients, and kind of getting back into the flow of things. The disrupted supply chain on a global scale really has fueled our business in terms of additional air freight coming through Edmonton, and that's been very positive. In 2022, we've really seen the airport grow with the Cargo Village concept and the expansion of air cargo. With the strength of all the network partners around us, it'll position ourselves very well to continue to be able to make great connections for our customers and build our business. In 2020, we were part of the airport community to get a global pharmaceutical certification, and that really springboarded us in 2022. We really started to build up that business and see the growth in that sector, and we think that we've positioned ourselves very well for 2023 and beyond in the pharmaceutical sector, and that's been a really exciting part of our business. It was a very exciting part of the pharmaceutical business. That API, actually that designation that we got has really driven a lot of cargo. She's not wrong. And we will continue to support Heather and BBE in 2023, working with their logistics company and that whole sector. Okay, talk cargo. What do you know about cargo last year, Myron?
Yeah, cargo was a great year last year. Again, a record year for us, 52,000 tons, in 2022. 7.2% growth when global cargo volumes were down around 6%. And that was a third year of cargo growth. And that's really important for our community. Cargo is really about how do small and medium enterprises gain access to international markets for the goods that they make. How do they import the goods they need to produce? And then how do they export? So those flights traveling across Canada into KLM, Condor into Germany, are really important because that allows our products to get to international markets and companies to expand internationally. And just on the pharmaceutical side, if we just look at the announcement that was made with the small molecule facility here that Edmonton Global applied for API led and getting this investment into Edmonton and pharmaceuticals, we really are a springboard. They're going to be a springboard for pharmaceutical development in the region. So that certification and the cargo volume growth is substantial and really important for our economic development in our region.
And the feds see it. I mean, they invested $100 million in our international cargo hub. What's that going to help us do?
Yeah, it's really important. I think supply chains are being reset around the globe. Edmonton, again, has a huge advantage from a circumpolar route. If you flatten out the Earth and take the globe and flatten it, it's only 9 minutes longer to fly from Hong Kong to Edmonton than Hong Kong to Vancouver. But yet you're inland over 1,500 kilometers. And I like to say you're on the right side of the Rockies, because you don't have to have the climb between Vancouver and Edmonton to bring goods, or Vancouver and Alberta to bring goods. So what that allows you to do is really to look at supply chains differently, but not just by air. Prince Rupert Port, getting goods into Prince Rupert, the expansion there, and the rail connectivity into the Edmonton metro region, and the road connectivity from here, and the flying connectivity, this region is poised to exponentially expand in e-commerce, cargo, and logistics, and really become Western North America's logistic power hub.
Which is going to mean we have to expand our apron.
Absolutely. The airplanes take a lot of concrete to park on. So last year we added 47,000 square meters of apron. It's about 5.5 CFL football fields, the big ones, not the American football fields. I don't know how many hockey rinks. Someone will have to figure that out for me. But all of them have the Oilers winning the Stanley Cup on every one of those hockey rinks. But it's just amazing to see that. It basically can park 4 more 747s or 6 767s. It doubles the cargo infrastructure. It's the single largest investment in cargo ever made in the history of Edmonton. And they're just getting started. And that's the exciting part. As we build it, businesses are building. As the businesses build, we'll continue to build and expand. And that's why the $100 million from the federal government is so important.
And also, we continue to do more and more innovative things. Look at the drones. We'll talk about what the innovations are that we're doing around drone delivery.
Yeah, sure. Drones at an airport typically, and thanks to our cargo team and Steve and the operations team, drones at airports, typically you can't fly them within 7 kilometers. And we had this bold vision to fly drones within 150 meters of an active runway, and didn't start there. But we're using drones for wildlife control, we're using drones for runway inspection, we're using drones for surveying, and all these neat, interesting things that you can use technology for. But in addition to that, partnering together with 4 partners, Apple Express, Zing Final Mile, Drone Delivery Canada, and Leduc County, we have Canada's first commercial, so it's a business, drone delivery from the airport, taking commercial goods to a business. Now, why is it important? It's important for cargo, because that last mile delivery is a way more sustainable way to do it by electric drone than a car that would drive. But also it's the future, because eventually people are going to be able to fly in autonomous systems between cities and airports. So this is creating the pathway, and our regulators, Transport Canada, Nav Canada, have been great to try and create this new and the future, what aviation is going to look like.
I'm going to order my drone now. Sustainability as well. We could list a whole bunch of awards that the airport has won, and I won't, but we've won a whole bunch of awards for sustainability in cargo, and the reason why these certifications and awards matter is hopefully they show you, the community, that we are in fact moving the dial on ESG and on sustainability and reducing emissions through our work on cargo. Let's shift gears. Health, safety, and security. Is that our #1 priority, Myron?
Absolutely. That was a test that I think I passed. No, I mean, absolutely. When you fly, you want to know you're going to be safe, and health and safety and security are the #1 priority. It is our ticket to the game. And if you can't provide it in an airport, then you wouldn't be an airport. So for us, our whole organization is focused, and not just the airport. There's dozens of organizations that make the airport function. It's really like a big family or an ecosystem. And so anytime you fly, there are dozens of organizations and agencies that make that possible. From arriving to the airport, if you come in a taxi or drive your own car or on a shuttle bus, to going through check-in, they're going through security and your baggage system, and every one of those partners, and the food and beverage operators, customs, CATSA, all come together to make that ecosystem work. So safety and security collectively is the ecosystem's #1 priority.
And if you were by the airport in September, we have this Canadian Airport Safety Week thing where we actually do an exercise. So that was a pretty cool exercise that we ran in September.
Yeah, I mean, safety training is always important, and the Canadian airports have all come together and lead through Safety Week. So really focused on emergency exercise, not just for the airport itself, but our surrounding municipalities. We've had everyone from Alberta Health Services, Alberta Emergency Management Association, City of Edmonton, all of our counties, the County of Leduc, all participating in this. And how do we make a better airport, and how do we actually drive together to, in times of crisis, make sure we're ready to handle it appropriately?
And the other comment, I have to shift now to the airport itself. And a lot of people comment to me about how we have excellent experiences at the airport. So shopping, dining, and passenger experience. Talk about that and how we get there.
Sure, and passenger experience is really important, and we all want you to come to the airport earlier so you can shop and dine, and then go on a flight, and then fly back and then shop and dine again before you pick up your bag, hopefully. That's just a little plug. But having over 60 shops and services is really important, and last year we opened up Tap and Pour Gastropub on the U.S. side, and Sevens at 49, which had some alternative gaming opportunities, and Boston Pizza, a great Edmonton-based company that started here, reopened their location. And we're always looking for new shopping and dining services, and I think one of the things that I could leave you with, we're always looking for local, and you'll see the flavor within our airport is, yes, we have international brands, people want to have their Starbucks and they want to have their Tim's, but Sorrentino's is there. It's important to have international brands, but Metalsmith is there on the retail side, and Cookies by George, and Walk Box, and Booster Juice, and I could go on, but it's really about representing the community and making it uniquely Edmonton.
I personally like the Belgian Beer Cafe. YEG Express, have you guys tried this yet? So you can actually book your time in the security line. Talk about that.
Yeah, so we'd ask you all to do this and book your time. Book it at least half an hour earlier than you think. That'll give you some time to enjoy the shops and services.
Go and shop and dine.
Little plug. No, so it's a great, it was an initiative launched, and it's done with our partners at Copenhagen Optimization and Clear, and it allows you to pre-book your time at security. And so a lot of people are stressed when they travel, and if you can take any stress out of the journey, you provide a better experience. So you can book your travel in advance. It was launched collectively across Canada with Montreal, Vancouver, Toronto, and Calgary. And passengers are loving it. And really, if next time you fly, try it, but make sure you book at least half an hour early. Remember that when you think.
You have time to go get a drink. What else is coming back that folks might notice at the airport?
Yeah, so really important is the face of the airport and really the face of the community. So our airport volunteer ambassadors are back. We'll soon be back to 50 volunteers fully trained, and that's really important. But also our furry ambassadors are back. And so our pet therapy program is back. We are the first airport in Canada to launch a pet therapy program, and it makes a huge difference to passengers. Being able to know that, you can see something. A lot of people are stressed, and it's quite amazing because the animals can tell when someone is stressed as well. And so it's really nice to see that when you're in the airport, especially young families or just something to break up the monotony of someone's travel. So that's really, really important.
And we often talk about how we want to be an airport for everyone. Give us an example of that.
Yeah, so we joined the Sunflower. It's a hidden disabilities program, and it's really about how do people identify who can help them in the airport, because disabilities are not always visible. And so people, auditory disabilities, they may have autism, may have different barriers for them that they don't know how to ask for help. And so we've joined this global program. Really proud to have joined that, and it allows all of our team at the airport to have a little sunflower badge on their airport badges, and then people can receive from us a sunflower lanyard or a little card, so we know that we can then help them and how to approach them and what do people need. So again, just helping people through their journey from wherever they are to be part of that airport for everyone.
And another example is the AIRA, which is for sight-impaired folks for wayfinding.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting system, and it was really for people that are blind or have low vision. You can take your mobile phone, and someone at the end of that phone actually walks you through the airport. So it's like a virtual personal assistant for those that might not have the ability to do it on their own. And again, it's just how do we drive this and using the smartphone of your camera. So technology 10 years ago, I don't know about you, my phone had a bunch of numbers on it. It was a BlackBerry. Didn't have what it is today. But you see technology advancing, the ability to use technology to help create an airport for everyone is really important.
That's great. Let's talk a little bit as well about the airport sustainability campus, which is what the cool kids are calling it, but it's the development all around the airport. What's going on there?
Yeah, so we're really proud to have over 250 businesses on the campus at the airport. And it's a place for businesses to really push their boundaries, to try things in fields like drones we talked about, artificial intelligence, reforestation we talked about earlier, energy sources, solar and hydrogen. And really proud about welcoming an example of Indigenous Box. And for those that know who Indigenous Box are, please visit their website. Please come to the Indigenous Interpretive and Retail Center at the airport, scan their QR card and buy goods. But really welcoming businesses of all types to the airport to help people and accelerate them. And so with Indigenous Box specifically, what Mallory and Cam have been able to build, I will call, and this is from Mammon, one of our folks who coined it on our cargo side, is really created the Amazon for Indigenous-made goods. And the lives that it's changing in communities in ways we're never going to see and know, but a generational change where people can actually get goods into market in a way they've never been able to do before. Just an example, she is now the official gifter, Mallory and Cam, for Facebook Canada, for Apple Canada. And that's happening here in Edmonton and helping our Indigenous communities, not just in the Edmonton metro region, but in the north, and I mean the true north of 60, in the north part of Canada.
So yeah, either Google Indigenous Box or you can go to our Indigenous Interpretive Center, the retail center by Gate 64 and see all these great things. Let's fly to Villeneuve.
Excellent.
Remind us, first of all, just talk about what happens at Villeneuve. What is Villeneuve Airport doing? What did it do last year?
Yeah, excellent. I appreciate that. Just like at the international airport, there's an ecosystem. The airports itself are part of an ecosystem. So Edmonton International Airport and Villeneuve Airport are an ecosystem because there's activity that belongs at different airports. And so Villeneuve Airport is the premier regional aviation center. And we have a control tower, an instrument landing system, and it's really the home for flight training, commercial general aviation, small fixed-wing and rotary aircraft for private and corporate use and commercial purposes, air ambulance operations as an alternative, and a wide range of private and commercial operations. But also some interesting stuff in maintenance, and then in drones. And there's a company that started its operation at the international airport called Pegasus that's now moved to Villeneuve and doing some world-leading development that's actually being adopted by Boeing. That's happening in this region. It's just amazing what happens across our ecosystem.
And the MOU that you signed last year.
Yeah, worked collaboratively with our great partner at Sturgeon County, signing MOU for the co-founding of the Villeneuve Landing Network, which is really about driving development in the surrounding community of the airport. And in 2023, we're really going to be focusing on runway, pavement repair, sanitary and stormwater infrastructure and maintenance. And we were really proud that last year in 2022, there was water line put in at Villeneuve Airport, which will allow further development to occur.
And air show this summer, is it coming back?
Absolutely, August. So everyone, before you leave, you have to buy a ticket. We'll be downstairs making sure you buy one. It's almost the same as going to the airport early. We'll be checking everyone's reservations. But the air show's back, and the air show's really important. It drives the knowledge of what's happening in this region. The air show brings international people into this region. It allows young and youth to be excited about aviation and the opportunities for careers there. There's lots of career opportunities in aviation. And it's just a great weekend. So August 4th to 6th, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, air show's running at the Villeneuve Airport. So please buy your tickets and hopefully come out every day.
Awesome. So we're talking to you about now how YEG is supporting our communities and the communities that we live and work in. And one focus of our work is how we relate to our Indigenous, Métis, and Inuit partners who have called this Treaty 6 region home for centuries. And, you know, we all know it's been a journey of uncomfortable truths and efforts to learn and collaborations that have produced some of our proudest community investment work. So I'd like us to listen now to Hunter Cardinal, who's one of the Indigenous Relations consultants who has helped guide our work at the airport so meaningfully as he shares his impressions.
Our relationship with YG began almost 6 years ago when they reached out to learn more about our work and explore how we could support their Indigenous relations initiatives. We connected instantly and reunited when the funding was secured to make the Indigenous Interpretive Retail Center a reality. What stands out to me is really how authentic and intentional YG's approach is, even when faced with challenges like the pandemic. There's a sense of ownership in their reconciliation work that spans across the organization. All people living, working, and playing on these lands are treaty people. And YEG doing this work is fulfilling the base obligations of that relationship. And in a more immediate sense, organizations have an obligation to meet the calls to action from Indigenous communities to know and reconcile with our history. Building relationships and working together is the best way to do that. The airport isn't just a place where people pass through, but a space where many first interact with these lands. And that's a huge responsibility, and it's not lost on the people that work here.
That's excellent. Thank you so much for sharing your impressions. And we've been strengthening our relationships with many Indigenous nations and organizations in our region. We're proud of the new immersive Indigenous experience in retail space and hope that you'll check it out. And we also enjoyed signing the ITA, the Indigenous Tourism Alberta Agreement. What are we going to do with them?
Yeah, as we learned earlier from our great knowledge keeper, we are blessed at having such authentic and phenomenal Indigenous and Métis experiences here in the Edmonton metro region. And if you haven't been out to Métis Crossing, go to Métis Crossing. Book a weekend, go stay there and learn. And we've had the blessing, all of us on our board, to be out there as well, and all of our executive and our director team. These are internationally recognized places that people want to come. People want authentic Indigenous experience. They want to learn about the history of our land. And it's not just about going somewhere and going to go shopping mall. Nothing wrong with that. But how do you also learn about the community and what the history of that community is and provide unique experiences? So from the Fort Edmonton Park, which we have the great experience center there, to the Métis Crossing, and there's more facilities being built all the time. So please, it's something, please come out and support them. We need to support them locally, but also bring your international visitors to these locations.
Excellent. And then share with us, we've got 2 or 3 slides on community. You want to give us 2 or 3 things that we're doing, investing in the community?
Yeah, I think the community, you're hearing a common theme here about community, and we're successful because of the community. This is a community airport. It's your airport. You use it. So we want to hear from you, and we believe it's important to partner from a genuine perspective, authentic perspective. So we sponsor, last year, over 74 different events in the community. And we're always looking for events to sponsor. We want to connect with the community and be a service to the community to create an airport for everyone. So it's really about how, it's not just the airport, it's the entire ecosystem. Our airline partners, our ground handlers, all of our partners that work, make your bags move, everyone involved really wants to give back. So really the airport is really about, in that ecosystem to give back, and how we can best do that is through community organizations.
And we brought back the golf tournament, and you're working with post-secondaries.
Yeah, so the golf tournament's great. Over 12, 13 years, about $1.3 million, $1.2 million in donations. But community partnerships with post-secondary are really important because providing training opportunities and job opportunities for youth, providing opportunities to skill, and we're working on a program with NATE and SSP with one of our food companies to provide opportunities for students and Indigenous students to actually have job placement, to learn on the job, and have access to an airport ecosystem. So micro-credentialing. So we're blessed with 7 post-secondaries in this region, and we really want to partner with those post-secondaries to drive opportunities for our region.
Awesome. I think you can tell there was an awful lot going on at the airport last year. I want to just touch on our master plan. So every 10 years or so, we got to refresh our master plan, and we did that this year.
Yeah, we're in the process of updating the master plan now. We'll file it in August of this year. Every 10 years, as Joan said, we have to re-update it. It's really that 90,000-foot guide on what's the airport going to look like in the future. And so we started in 2022. We'll file it in 2023. But again, a unique opportunity. We had over 5,000 respondents that connected and provided survey, provided comments. We're doing many, many roadshows and meeting with many different groups, including our Indigenous communities. We thought it's very important to do that in a good way, to lead off in that way. So you'll see a lot of, all the comments actually, you can actually see online. You can see the themes online. So really go to our website. We're still looking for input in that, and we'll file that this August with the federal government. But it's our roadmap out to 2048.
Yeah, it's a really important deliverable for you and for our board for the future of our airport, so that's great. So let's move to our financial picture of last year. So first of all, just context of it being a recovery year. 2022 was really a recovery year for us.
Yeah, I mean, if we were go back to 2022, remember what it was like in the spring? We were still at home. Everyone had masks on. No one was going to the office. Everything was still closed. It was a whole different world than it is today. And so setting that context, coming out of that, we saw traffic rebound quite quickly. The first couple of months were very slow, and then it just, I'll use the hockey stick analogy. It was like a hockey stick. Like all the other goals, we're going to put our hockey sticks in there, yay, to recover. And so our revenues last year were 78% higher than they were the year before, at $195 million. And a lot of this is related to airport improvement fee, to the concessions and parking and airlines. And then our expense growth was also, grew as well, but only by about 62%. So we were able to make sure we had fiscal prudent management to ensure that revenues are growing faster than our expenses. To ensure that, we had a loss last year, but our net loss was a lot lower than we had planned.
And cash and debt-wise, how are we looking in terms of paying off our debt?
So like you all have a mortgage and you pay both interest and principal, 85% of our mortgage essentially is cash. It pays principal and interest down. So last year during COVID, we paid down $46 million in debt. So we believe it's really important to do that. And we also took a fact advantage that interest rates are higher. So we invested about $45 million in GICs to make some money on the money we have sitting in bank accounts, for lack of a better term. So we also had a lot of large infrastructure projects, and a lot of that was related to partnerships with the federal government on grant dollars.
That's great. I think at the end of the day, with this return of passengers, also means a return of liquidity and will enable us to remain in a strong position to support our growth, as you've described. But our full financial statements, if you're interested in all the information on what we presented tonight, can be found in the 2022 annual report, which was likely sent to all of you and is also available on our website. So, thank you, Myron. That was quite a wrap-up of 2022 and a sampling of what we can expect in 2023. And the theme of our annual report is new beginnings. And I would not want to leave tonight without saying how excited we are about the new beginnings with our new CEO. And we are thrilled that you, with your excellent relationships around the world and in this region, and your huge strategic mind, that you have agreed to serve as our CEO. And I know that you will do exactly what Edmonton Airports needs to be successful in the future. So thank you for choosing to share your talents with us. And is there anything else that you'd like to add, Myron? Give me the last word.
Yeah, two things I'd like to add. I think one is no one does anything alone. And I think no one's successful. The team at the airport, our executive, every other team that I hear from our airport people, we have a phenomenal team. And we hear that about why is Edmonton so successful when we talk to other airports. And then you say it's the magic sauce that is the Edmonton Metro region. It's the team at the airport. That's one. But the team in the community. And we really are a big team here. And everyone wants to make the Edmonton Metro region better. Thank you to each of you. Fly Edmonton first. Book early to, all those great things, to use some concessions. But thank you to you, because your investment of time, you have places you could be right now, and you're here sitting with us talking about the airport. So thank you very much.
So that's the end of the presentation. Now it's time for questions. So I will invite our MC back up, and if there are any questions that have come in online, or if there are any questions in the audience, we do have a couple of roving mics, and all the hard ones go to Myron.
So if anybody has a question, just raise your hand, and we do have a mic, and we'll get that to you. I'm just checking to see if anything came in online. No questions online. Oh, there's a question right here.
She's coming to you with the mic. 1 second. Thank you so much.
Hi, is Icelandair coming back?
Icelandair.
We're always working on additional air service to Europe. So air service between Edmonton and Europe is important. So we are working on incremental service. We have an air service team that's dedicated to doing that. People literally fly all over the world and spend most of their time away from their families. And so with KLM going 4 days a week into Amsterdam, Condor flying twice a week into Germany, we are working at other hubs into Europe for incremental service. So it's premature for us to announce, but it's something that's a high priority for us as the airport. And we will let you know when there is service, and please use the ones we have today.
There's another question there.
I couldn't let this go. Myron, you're now my 4th president and CEO that I've been working with since I came here in 1988 and started to invest. As you know, we're looking at another building here on Apron 8. One of the things that our customers are talking about is obviously sustainability, but also looking at carbon footprint, but solar seems to be the big thing. And with the solar farm coming on board, our customers, if we started to build today, we would have to add about 5% to the cost of the structure in steel to be able to support the solar panels. We want to tap into what it is that you are doing here at the airport. So we're looking at what the timeframes are as to when that will be possible.
Yeah, great question. So Wayne has been a great development partner of ours on site, and they built the first building when it was just a field. It was literally a field of dreams. There was nothing there. The road was being built. Yes, literally. Yeah. So in 1959, the first third-party building built, and the airport was being built, was in 1959, and that's the company that Wayne was with. And so that kudos to them for having the vision to do it. It's the first one in Canada that someone built as a third-party developer at an airport. Before that was all government. And so Wayne, thank you for the question. We think sustainability is really important as well. And we're hearing it from our cargo development partners and your clients. And so we are working with our solar farm provider on the final permits. It's at the very end stages. We're 90+% done permitting, and are hoping to break ground later this summer to fall. It's about a 1.5-year build to have solar power. And so it's really important, I think, as you mentioned as well, airlines and cargo handlers and cargo companies are looking to decarbonize their supply chain. And this solar farm will be a huge opportunity for them to lower their carbon emissions from their operations, not just from the building, but all the equipment that runs around. And that's really where the big benefit is for the airlines. So thank you, Wayne. We'll be to you shortly.
Really thankful for promoting from within, because the knowledge that Myron has, and I'm being a little flattering to you here, the knowledge that he has and the work that others have done over the years here, it's nice to have a continuation of that knowledge at an airport. Really, the airport treats us like true partners. There's not many airports in North America, and I deal with virtually all of them, that treat you as a partner, as a third-party developer, as a supply base, and I want to congratulate you as a board for doing that with Myron.
Thank you. Yeah. You won't have any argument from us, and I'll say it again. We did, in fact, do a global search, and the best talent is here in Edmonton. And I say that about the CEO, but also about the talent that's around the CEO. The best talent truly is around our tables at the Edmonton airport.
Yeah, and thank you, Wayne. And my goal now, you have to wear an Oilers jersey. He's from Vancouver and a huge Canucks fan. We have to get him an Oilers jersey before he leaves. I got one at the stage here. I'm going to make you put it on.
Peter.
This is one of those questions from the 90,000-foot level that you talked about, Myron, and it's to either or both of you. What do you see, because it looks very going up and things are positive, any of the major trends out there that are coming out of left field that may disrail what's happening? And I guess I'm thinking as an example of what's happening with a hybrid working model that's coming out, which is all of a sudden, according to some people, destroying the real estate industry. So something out of left field that you might be concerned about.
Yeah, no, thank you, Peter. And I have to give kudos to Peter. Peter was the architect, along with Gordon Klein and others, of really creating the model of airport authorities in Canada and why we have this great airport we have today. And without Peter, we used to have a food and beverage program which wasn't very good. And Peter introduced us to Chili's. That was our first foray into bringing in a local brand to a local operator to do that. So thank you, Peter. In terms of things that are coming out of left field, hybrid work isn't as much of a concern. And we're seeing that particularly, people still want to travel and people still do business with people. So seeing that business travel component come back. But some of the things that we always think about and our board has to think about is what happens with cybersecurity and making sure our facilities are secure. Are there incidents that are happening, geopolitical incidents that are happening that can affect the airport? And what does it mean from a drones in that perspective and autonomous systems for travel? So you'll see why you're embracing some of these new technologies to minimize the risk, but to make sure it happens here so we and our region can participate and share in that.
Any more questions? None online? No. All right, well, we'll end there. If you do think of a question or have a question that you want to submit it online. We will get back to you in the next coming week with that, with the answer to that question. Thank you so much for joining us today. I do want to acknowledge a few of the vendors that were here today who really helped make this event so special. Our caterer, renowned Indigenous chef Scott Eisterhoff, and Peps Is Chow Catering. Bottom-up bartending, the YEG teepees that you've seen around on some of the tables, they were done by a local Indigenous artist, Monica Rain. I really love them. I saw them when I came in. I commented as soon as I saw them. I thought they were really amazing. The local Indigenous artist, Francis Whitford, for all the beautiful beaded lanyards that you're seeing. Those are absolutely amazing. Juno Award-winning artist, the Bearhead Sisters, from Paul First Nation, amazing singing. Hopefully we can hear some more of that. Fabloom Ossity for the flowers, Backwards Security for keeping us safe, and Reese Runco for his musical performance at the beginning. And then Kiwi Productions, who, if you've watched our AGM in the past, we've been in their studio, and now they're broadcasting live in person, which is nice to have. And Foundry Events for all their event planning services. And then lastly, I want to thank Gary Bettman and NHL for scheduling games around our AGM. That brings a conclusion. Myron's got his dry saddle jersey ready to go. So,
if only he got 5 goals.
Yeah. Thank you very much for attending. Please stay, enjoy the room, the facility here, and socialize a bit.
Yeah, come back downstairs, right?
Yes.
Come back downstairs and continue the festivities. Thank you all for being here.